It may not be for the national title, but the Allstate Sugar Bowl has a ton of intrigue between Cincinnati and Florida. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com with your preview of the Allstate Sugar Bowl. And for that, we bring in CBS Sports' Spencer Tillman to break this down. And Spence, obviously there's a lot here with Florida and Tim Tebow's last game, but I think the most interesting thing that people are curious to see what happens is with Cincinnati, because Brian Kelly's not there. He's at Notre Dame. The interim coach, Jeff Quinn, who will coach in this game, is going to Buffalo after the ball game to take over as the head coaching job. And the coach, Butch Jones, who's coming in from Central Michigan to be the head coach, won't coach in this game. How do these kids respond at Cincinnati?
I need some Dramamine right now. I don't know how they really compete, man. I mean, it's their head's got to be swimming right now. And I think they're still trying to get over the disappointment of their coach, who the week before he left said that he was actually staying. And again, they've learned to deal with that at this point. But, you know, this is a tough spot. If I'm a player, I'm just going on my personal experience. It would be tough for me to kind of have an internal allegiance to any one individual. Now, some of the mature players like Marty Gilliard and others have stepped up and said, you know what, we've got to play, and that's what we're going to do. Well, the seniors tend to think that way. The young kids, not so much. They're attached to these guys, and when they're on a coaching carousel and a player carousel themselves, it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, and they were 1 second away from the Texas and Nebraska game from actually playing for the national championship game, and then maybe Brian Kelly would actually still be at Cincinnati. They've talked about finishing what they've started, an unbeaten season. How difficult will that be, though, against this Florida team?
Well, obviously, Florida's Florida. Florida is in a unique situation, though. They've got to guard against the disappointment factor. I mean, in this Sugar Bowl, in this really, I'm talking about the short window, 2 years that we're talking about, Alabama was in the exact same position that Florida finds itself in this year. Florida's got to be real careful about that hubris or that excessive pride that says on the inside, we deserve more, we should have been playing for the national championship game or whatever. I think they pretty much reconcile themselves to the fact that Alabama was a better team that day. But have they reconciled to themselves that they belong in the Sugar Bowl? They may think that they deserve more. And that's a dangerous spot for them to be in, because Cincinnati, despite all the craziness going on outside of them, is an explosive offensive team. We'll see if they can bring it together, though, with all the coaching craziness that's going on.
Explosive offense. But Spence, they haven't seen a defense like this. I mean, you're talking about one of the top 5 defenses in the nation. Tony Pike leading a 6th best offense, 3rd best defense in Florida. I'm not sure Cincinnati can put up those points.
Well, maybe they can't put up those points, but I think you have to go back and judge what we have seen and been exposed to. I don't think that besides Arkansas, which obviously took Florida to the brink, I don't think Florida has seen a vertical passing attack like they're going to see. The question is, can Cincinnati run it as efficiently as they did when Brian Kelly was calling the shots? That's really the question. But when you juxtapose the 2 events that we have, or the one event, that would be the Arkansas contest. And believe me, Arkansas almost was Florida's Ole Miss of a year ago. They darn near pulled that game off. So I think Cincinnati is every bit as capable as is Arkansas in doing the same thing. So this is going to be a very, very tough out for Florida.
Yeah, and of course it is Tim Tebow's last game, so the emotion will be there with the quarterback. We saw it on the sideline after the SEC championship game. This is his last collegiate ball game, Spence. Can you put into words what you think his legacy will be on college football?
Well, to me, it's about not his numbers, but it's about his influence, and that's what effective leadership is. It's influence, nothing more, nothing less. And no guy has had more influence and impact over a senior class than has Tim Tebow. I think their number is like 46-6 or something to that effect. One of the winningest classes in the history of college football. It is the winningest, and it's largely as a result of what he's been able to do under center. And in a historical perspective, maybe there are better quarterbacks out there, but there are very few, and maybe no better football player in the history of the game, in my opinion, than Tim Tebow. Yes, better athletes, yes, better quarterbacks, but better football players, they're rare. Yeah, and the winningest class, as you pointed out, in the SEC's history, which is certainly some feat, and of course part of 2 national championships, the starter of one, played alongside Chris Leak in the other. Last ball game, Tim Tebow going out a winner with big numbers, Spence? I can't imagine them losing 2 in a row with Tim Tebow. I'm going with Florida, but it's going to be a near miss, not unlike what they experienced against Arkansas.
So you think it's a close game? You think it's a very close game?
I think it's going to be a close game. I think that the Cincinnati kids overcome all of that craziness, and that's one heck of a notch to put in their belt if they can get close and then even pull it off.
Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out on New Year's Day, the night of New Year's Day. Spencer T., thank you very much, and Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year to you as well.
All right, folks, for more on this game, keep it right here with CBSSports.com. The Allstate Sugar Bowl, Tim Tebow in Florida against Tony Pike in Cincinnati. We'll see how it all plays out. For Spencer Tillman, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.